clothes. Got a question.
It's a beautiful day on the South Strand. Welcome to Conversations with the Hoff. I'm Steve Hoffman, your host, and with me in the studio today are my two radical, sometimes wacky, libertarian friends, Randy Oporowski and Trip Detmering.
Yay!
We have a special call-in guest today, a well-known libertarian, Larry Sharpe. Larry Sharpe is a father, a Marine, an entrepreneur, a teacher, and a political activist. His mission is to help people find happiness through community and purpose, often by overcoming bad policy decisions in government. He ran for governor of New York twice in 2018 and again in 2022. In his first term, he achieved ballot access for the Libertarian Party.
Yay!
He got 95,000 votes. Fantastic. In October of 2025, just recently, he received the New York Libertarian Party's nomination again to run for governor for a third time. As the creator and host of The Sharpe Way show, he's widely seen as one of the Libertarian Party's most effective communicators, someone who can translate philosophy into policy without losing ideological clarity. He's one of the few people who can bridge the gap between pragmatic libertarians and the more radical decentralists. If you listen to my last episode, you'll know what we're talking about. So welcome to the show, Larry.
I am very happy to be here, Hoff. I appreciate it.
Yeah, one of my first, I have a lot of questions I'd like to ask you, dozens of topics, but this is only a 30 to 40 minute show, so much for that. So
Someone told me it was 3 hours. Wait a minute. Fine.
No, we said we'd keep you on the phone for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay, good. All right. Well, 30 minutes is like half a question, so go ahead.
I'm sure a lot of our audience is asking the same question I'm asking. Why are you running for the governor of New York? The people in your state are fleeing to my state right now.
Let me give you this. It's a great point. Why am I running, period, and why the governor of New York? Why am I not fleeing? Of course I think about fleeing. Most people do. There's recently a poll that shows 1/3 of all New Yorkers are considering leaving the state. The state's a disaster. It's been a disaster for decades, and it's getting worse. So, of course, people consider fleeing. And I did, too. I actually considered going to North Carolina, is what I thought about years ago. In 2017-16, I was considering going to North Carolina because for what I do as a day job, I'm a business consultant. Mm-hmm. So I need large companies and businesses to make my money so I can pay my bills. So I thought, Charlotte, that's a nice big city. I'll go there. I'll make a ton of money. It'll be fine. So I went down there and scouted it out. And what I found was I could sell my shoebox of a house in New York City and buy a mansion in North Carolina and feel better and have everything great and better taxes. But I got mad. I said, why do I have to leave my state, the state that I've grown up in, that I live in, that I have my family and friends, that I'm born in, my business is here. Why do I have to leave? You know what? New York is a beautiful state with a terrible government, and that's why it's wrecked. I'm going to go back. I'm going to run for governor. I'm going to win. I'm going to change the state. That was 2018. That did not go as planned. Once that did not happen and I did not win, I learned a lot. I saw how bad things were, how corrupt things were, how it was pay to play. And I said, I'll do it again in 2022. Sadly, the state then changed all the rules, got rid of my party. For those who don't know, in New York State, we are literally the hardest state to get on the ballot.
Yeah.
In 2022 was the first time in over 80 years there was no independent on the ballot at all for governor. And in 2024, New York State was the only state in the entire union that had no independent candidate on the ballot for president.
Wow.
Yes, because we one thing we do not like in the Empire State is you to challenge the empire. We do not like that at all. So we make sure you do not do that. So so I actually considered going down there, but I said I want to stay here and fight anyway. So I'm going to get in 2026. But why would I run for governor? People say all the time, Larry, run for city council or something. Why? What will it do?
Yeah.
Nothing. It will make no impact. I'll get a win. Good. So I'll take your money. I'll get a win, and I'll virtue signal in New York City for no avail. I'll virtue signal in New York State for no avail. Whatever. Who cares? I can't do anything. Plus, in New York State where I am, I don't have a democracy. Mm-hmm. All I have is Democrats. Yeah. In my city, it's 6-1 Democrat to Republican. Where I am, by the way, as you guys probably know, my mayor now is Zohran Mamdani. My assemblyman before that was Zohran Mamdani. He was my assemblyman. Actually, I interviewed him on my show because I know him. So and AOC is my congressperson. I accept your condolences.
My condolences, right?
Yes, I live in the belly of the beast.
New Yorker Stan.
Yes. If I run for governor, I can actually make change. 2 ways I can make change. Number one, if I win, the entire country changes overnight. The entire country is overnight, magically overnight. If I don't win, but I get ballot access, I can rebuild the Libertarian Party, which, by the way, I did already. In 2018, after I got ballot access, in 2019, I crossed the state again. And when I crossed the state, I helped 107 local libertarians get elected. We went from 0 libertarians in New York State to 107 in 1 year.
Awesome.
Now, 107 is not amazing. It's out of the thousands, but it is the start we needed. It was all local things. It was like, city council, water board, all the local things, but 107.
Yeah.
So think about what would have happened in the coming 5, 6, 8 years. We would have built out an actual grassroots third-party movement in New York State. Yeah. That's why they changed the laws and got rid of me. So I get to win 2 ways. The last piece is, in New York State, the only way to become an official party in New York State for the election law is in a statewide election. Mm-hmm. That's it. There's no other way. And it has to be either governor or president. That's it. That's all. So unless I'm running for president, the only thing I have is to run for governor. That's why I run for governor of New York.
And it's kind of funny when you were saying, after 2018, all I could think of is the Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, I mean, and you're right. When you win, you will change the entire country. Not just the state of New York, but the entire country. And that's how much impact. And that's how we've got to get people nationally to get that realization also.
You mentioned ballot access. Let's talk a little bit about that and the hurdles that you faced running for public office in New York State. You got ballot access back in 2018 with your 95,000 votes. And then the next election, it's gone. You didn't have it anymore. What happened?
Episode 1 of Microphone Monkeys drops this Thursday, January 15th. If you are into sadism, or just pain in general, tune in on your favorite podcast platform like Spotify or Apple Podcast and more.
Yeah, so New York State decided that in the middle of a cycle, in other words, a 4-year cycle, we're going to just change the rules. And so I know you got ballot access, but no, you don't. We're going to change the rules in the middle of the cycle so that you don't have it for the next governor election. And I sued and lost 8 times, 4 times in state court and 4 times in federal court.
Wow. Literally
just said, no. The legislature can do whatever it wants. So my judges in my state are an embarrassment to judges throughout the entire world. Yeah. They're so bad, so corrupt, they just do not care. I don't have 3 branches of government. I have 2. The judges, they just support the system. It does not matter what the system is. It doesn't matter that it's actually Coke and Pepsi deciding who goes on the shelf in the supermarkets. They're like, yeah, that makes total sense. It's fine. Because if they don't do it, they won't have a job. So the system is completely broken. They just changed it. So I said, okay, no worries. I will fight anyway. And I still lost. It did not matter.
Yeah.
So I have to make changes. There's no longer third parties in my state anymore. Doesn't exist.
Wow. I mean, there's no checks, no balances. It's
none.
Yeah.
Even the
in case you didn't know this, New York State has terrible gun laws, right? So terrible that the Supreme Court, the Bruen decision said your gun laws are unconstitutional. And in response to those, that the Supreme Court of the United States saying our gun laws are unconstitutional, my governor, Kathy Hochul, has 10 more gun laws.
Oh, yeah. And
I'm not joking.
And all of them are in absolute opposition to Bruen.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. She does not care. She doesn't. In fact, we have so many gun laws that most of our gun laws now, they just make illegal things illegaler. That's what we do.
And now they're trying to regulate not only the guns, but the ammunition.
Gotta pass some kind of law. What else? We've done almost everything else.
Well, wasn't Bruen
Gotta
a New
pass
York?
some. What are
Wasn't
you
that a
doing?
New York case, Bruen, where they were actually?
Yeah.
That's my point. The Supreme Court said your laws are unconstitutional, and we said we'll take 10 more. How about that? That's what we did.
I have an owner in Buffalo. It took him like 18 months to get a gun permit. And he said the same thing. Hochul, they literally just change it up. No matter how they fight it, they just switch it up immediately.
Oh,
so
every single time. And the worst part is the organizations who supposedly support the gun rights here in New York State, they're a joke.
yeah.
Scope and NYSERPA are the two organizations, and they just support whatever the Republican Party says.
Yeah.
The Republican Party in my state has completely given up. They've totally surrendered. They don't care. Something to remember, a Republican has not won any statewide election, not senator, not governor, not AG, not controller, in 24 years. Nothing. Wow. Zero. The state is just getting bluer and not redder. Right now, the Republicans are outgunned 3-1. There are more independents in my state than there are Republicans. There is no chance of Republican winning ever. And they keep just going, this is our year. They just lie, and they've accepted it. The Republican Party in my state is about 2 cycles away from no longer being able to run candidates anymore statewide. They'll run it, locally, but they won't run statewide. It's already happening. If you look at right now, if you look at New Mexico, there's no Republican candidate for governor.
Yeah. And then they're going to get to the point where it's almost like the CCP has given them a playbook for the Democratic Party of.
It's worse than you would think.
Oh yeah.
Where I actually live in my local area, Republicans haven't run a candidate in 12 years.
Oh my gosh.
So when Mamdani actually runs, he runs unopposed.
Yeah.
So there's 1% write-ins. So he wins 99-1. The CCP is jealous of those numbers. Kim Jong-un is like, how do you hit them numbers? Oh my God, I want those numbers. Stalin is rolling over in his grave. Yeah. Saddam Hussein is like, what? I wish I could hit them numbers.
So let me rephrase about ballot access in New York. The old rule that you had to have 50,000 votes in a gubernatorial election to be able to get ballot access. They increased that to 130,000 votes, or 2%, in either the gubernatorial or the presidential election. And you got 95,000 votes in 2018, so you got it. But then even Joe Jorgensen in 2020 got 60,000 votes. Nowhere close to the 130,000 new requirement. So much for ballot access for the Libertarian Party. You used to be able to get it on to petitioning. The old rule, you needed 15,000 signatures. Yeah. Now you have to get 45,000 signatures in just 42 days. So
yes, let me cover a couple of those pieces. The first part is, yes, you have to be on the ballot. That's the hardest part. Getting the votes isn't as hard as you might think. Yeah. Getting on the ballot is a whole lot harder. And the reason is, you might go, is 45,000 signatures that much? It actually isn't. The problem is what you just said. In 42 days, and worse, the 42 days that they have randomly specified. I'm not joking. You can't start earlier or go later. It must be within this specific window, to where in New York State we still have snowstorms.
Yeah.
That and then where there's no longer any city council, any fairs, nothing, no county fairs, nothing. So they literally made it. If you just said, "Hey Larry, this cycle ended. Before next cycle, please get me 45,000 signatures." That's fair.
Yeah.
Anyone could do that. If I got 9 months to get, that's fine. That's fair. You can do it in 9 months. You can't do it in 6 weeks. Not just that. It has to be. Very specific. Every single signature must be perfect. And when I say perfect, I mean perfect. Here's a little tidbit. if those of you who know New York City, Brooklyn is one of our boroughs.
Yeah.
And if you live in Brooklyn, you get to write your address, so-and-so street, whatever, Brooklyn, New York. That is your address. But Brooklyn is not the actual name of the county. The official name of the county is Kings County. That's the official name. If you put Brooklyn for your county, that signature does not count.
Yes. And this is the same group that's upset with identifying yourself if you go to vote. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. But if you write down what everyone knows as the county, there's no confusion in that, right? Like no one's like, what does he mean when he says Brooklyn? No one thinks that. They all know it. They know it's Kings. And a judge will go, yep, that's correct. That is an invalid signature. Shame on every judge who does that. But they do that. So the idea of getting 45,000 is terrible because it is tripled. To your point, it used to be 15,000. That was doable. And when I went to court, I told the judges, this is impossible. You are creating an aristocracy in my state. You are ensuring there'll be no more independent candidates. No one can do it. They said, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. This is very reasonable. That was their words to me. That's what the judges said. This is reasonable. Yet, me and Howie Hawkins, who had both run before, couldn't do it. But not just that. Lee Zeldin, who ran for governor, he was at the time that he went to get an independent line, he literally was the Republican nominee, and he was a sitting congressman. He couldn't do it.
Wow.
Kennedy, RFK Jr., who dropped $1 million and is a Kennedy in New York State.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it. And they're like, nope, this is completely okay. That is how embarrassing our judges are. And then since they made the change, Hoff, since that change, no independent parties have made the ballot.
Wow. I went to New York City last year, and I didn't realize you can't bring mace from out of state. You have to do like an ATF.
And you're not talking Nancy.
Yeah.
No.
She's available, by the way.
Yes. No. Here's the problem. You think that you have the right to defend yourself, and not in New York. You do not. No, that's not a thing. Yeah. If you are a victim of a crime, shut up and be a victim. Stop being selfish. Just be the victim and move on. That's how that works in New York State. And you also probably think that the Bill of Rights matters. It does not. In New York State, it's the Bill of Suggestions. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a big Packer fan, well, actually an owner. So, but one of my Green Bay Packer players went through New York as a what do I want to say? He had to go through the airport, and he followed all the rules. Firearm. And he followed all the rules.
Of course he did. He went to jail anyway.
Yep. Yeah.
Already know. That's I wish that's so common. The second you began that, I knew the story. That's how common that is. That is the norm. In fact, it's not just that. If you come in, I'm not joking, from Long Island.
Yeah.
Which is, for those who don't know, which is literally the suburb of New York City, and you bring your firearm, you're going to jail.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So moving on with your campaign, one of your key topics is individual liberty and personal freedom. And from that perspective, you have a lot of thoughts on medical freedom. And as we know, during the last pandemic, New York City was the epitome of medical tyranny.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about what happened there? And
I'm going to go even worse.
Okay.
In New York City, it was so bad. And it is embarrassing for me as a New Yorker, because if you go back, I don't know, before 9/11, maybe 30 years, 40 years, New York City was I'm walking here. That's who we were.
Yeah. Right.
Get out of my way. I'm a tough guy, right? I don't want to hear you stuff. I'm a tough guy. That's who we were. 9/11 shook this city up badly. It did. There's no doubt it did. Mm-hmm. But it was recoverable. 2008 made us again think, like, wait a minute, are we going to be okay? The lockdowns were the end of the city. New York City, it used to be called the city that never sleeps.
Yeah.
It now sleeps.
Oh.
It now sleeps. And that's all because of lockdowns. Lockdowns destroyed this city. It was the final nail in the coffin. 9/11 started it. 2008 punched us. 2020 lockdowns ended this city. This city now sleeps. Here is how bad it was. At 7 p.m., I'm not making this up, at 7 p.m., people would come out to their windows, because they were all stuck in their homes, in their jail cells, and we would clap for the like first responders and like whatever, the nurses and whatever, we clap. We would literally applaud our jailers. That is next level Stockholm syndrome.
Wow.
That is what we had. We would clap for our jailers. Yay, thank you for jailing us. Thank you for jailing us, is what we literally did. It broke the city. It broke our spirit. And the people who actually had spirit literally left. One of the problems I had trying to find a lieutenant governor, so this is how bad it was. The people who I wanted to be a lieutenant governor were the rebels like myself, right? Yeah. So as I crossed state to find people who were savvy heavy hitters, I couldn't use them. And here's why. New York State has a law. If you want to become governor, you must have been a resident of the state for the past 5 years.
Wow, 5 years.
Yes.
Holy cow.
5 years, yes. And past 5, not like ever 5 years, the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And because of that, so many people left the state, went to Florida during the lockdowns.
Yeah.
So that ineligible.
Yeah.
So I actually struggled to get people to be my lieutenant governor because from 2020 to 2023, they were Florida residents.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know what you say about being the Stockholm syndrome. When I'm in an airport and I see somebody with a mask on, I say, "Oh, there's another New Yorker."
Yes. Well, here's the word. This is the part that really, I never forget this because it actually shook me. When I was outside during the lockdowns, I saw a young woman. She was probably in her 20s, as I'm going to guess. Mm-hmm. Thin, in-shape woman running. She's outside. She's young. She's in good physical shape. She's running by herself, mask on.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes. And I thought, what? Okay, first off, you're outside. Second off, you're by yourself. Third off, you're in good shape. You're running. No one else is there. Why is your mask on? And I realized it's just a virtue signal.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
See, I'm a good person. Look, everyone, I'm a good person. That's all it was.
Do you think it spirals when you have that much wealth and everything concentrated and you have so many people in the outer boroughs? It just over decades, they just can't resist, like Detroit style, just confiscating all their money.
No, what winds up happening here is, remember, when you live on top of people, you become more blue. That's how it works. You become more and the reason is, in most suburbs or particularly rural areas, people are much more tied to their actual, where they live. Mm-hmm. They understand the culture. People are more similar. In New York, people don't know this. In New York City, 1/3 of New York City residents aren't born in the country. Another 1/3 aren't born in the city. I'm the weirdo who's born in Manhattan. I'm the weirdo. It is normal for people in New York City to go, "Where are you from?" That's the norm, because the assumption is you're not from here.
Yeah.
And we don't have to hear an accent to say that. We just assume you're not from here. So it's very common. We say, "Where are you from?" And we assume you're not from here. That's how bad it is. With that in mind, we don't have common culture, common religion, common rules. We don't have it. That's number one. Yeah. Number two, we live on top of each other here. There are parts of buildings in Manhattan to where the UPS truck driver, his entire route is one building.
Oh, wow.
His entire route. So he pulls up to the building, runs the building, goes back, fills the truck up again, goes back, same building. His entire route is one building. That is how much we live on top of each other. There are parts of New York City to where within 1 square mile, there are 60,000 people. That's more than most counties. So, yeah, that's how it works. And with that in mind, we live on top of each other, and we don't have common cause. So what do? We scream for a referee. And who's that referee? Government. Uh-huh. We beg for it. We beg for referees. We beg for government. And we get it. Boy, when you beg for government, it will come. It will come. Guaranteed. That's one thing we'll give it. It will come.
Yeah.
But that kind of doesn't really represent all of New York. I'm a member of the local Moose Lodge, and mostly old folks, mostly retirees, and a lot of them from New York State, upstate, and they're all conservative. Yep. I mean, every New Yorker I know at the Moose Lodge is a conservative.
That's why they're there with you and not with me. Yes, that's why my state is now 3-1 against the Republicans. Yeah. That's why right now Republicans in my state are 23% of the electorate. 23%. That's it. That's why if you look at our last election here in New York City, Curtis Sliwa, who was a Republican, he got 7% of the vote. Not 17, not 70, 7% of the vote.
Wow.
Yes.
So
You're
why?
correct. All the people who are Republicans or conservative leaning, they're leaving. They're leaving in droves. We lose over 100,000 every single year.
Yeah.
So as far as representation goes, why is New York State one single entity? Why haven't they pushed for secession? Let New York City be an entity in itself, and then the rest of the state be another political entity.
Those days are long gone. And what I mean by that is the state is so blue, even if you took New York City out, New York State's still blue.
Yeah, like you said, though, all the judges are already going to make sure that you can't pass anything to separate.
And look, New York City is a big red state with a bunch of blue blotches. The problem is the blue blotches are getting bigger, and the red people in the red areas are leaving. So even if you got rid of New York City, New York State's still blue. Rochester's blue, Buffalo's blue, Syracuse is blue, Albany's blue, Ithaca's blue, Binghamton's blue. All the cities in New York State, they're all blue. So it doesn't matter. The state is so blue. Even if you got rid of New York City, it's still blue.
Yeah.
Those days are over. Florida used to be a swing state. Remember those days?
Oh, yeah.
Not anymore. It's now a red state. Why? New York was one. There was a time in 2022 where Florida was changing over 6,000 New York State licenses every month to Florida. That's 200 a day. Wow. 200 every day swapping out. That's how bad it is. So, of course, everyone down there is a conservative. If they were liberals, they'd be up here with me.
You know, when you were talking about upstate, something that just kind of clicked with me, and I always love to hear you talk about this. The next gen nuclear, what do I call them? Nuclear plants that could so much benefit and bring things back to not only upstate New York. What you have in your plan for New York for energy could be nationwide and fantastic.
100%.
Yeah, tell them a little bit about that. I can't remember what generation it was, to be honest with you.
Yep, no worries. It is both Trump and Hochul, so both the president and my governor, Republican, Democrat, both agree with me now, so I know I'm right. See how it is? So yeah, they're both now talking about nuclear energy, which is the right move.
Yeah.
Gen 4 nuclear energy is thorium, and the Chinese have already built a couple of those. These types of nuclear power plants physically cannot melt down. It is impossible. So there's no meltdown ability whatsoever. But even if you did go through an older generation, you can go through modular ones they have now. And the modular, once something goes wrong, you shut down one module and the rest can keep pumping. So you can create modular nuclear power plants. And even those are even safer. Even Trump said it, so's Kathy Hochul.
Yeah.
Why does this matter? Because there's about 12 places across New York State where you could pop one in right now. Just this setup where we had an old station you could pop in, put a nuclear power plant in. And here's how you do it. You take the land as government land, and the people who are going to build it are going to be AI/energy companies because the AI people want this stuff. I get it.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, there's no reason to put a AI data processing center in your area. It would just raise your costs and trash your water. It won't be good. Who would want it? I understand. But if we do this route, where we let them build the power plant, what we do is we just lease the land out. As we lease the land out, the state gets cash from them to lease the land out, and they get to build it. The government does not build it. If the government builds it, it'll take 20 years. Yeah. And it'll fail. They build it. Now they're paying me rent every year, so they better hurry up because I want my money. I'm the mob. I want my cut. So I'm getting my cut no matter what. So you better build your plant. Now you're going to say, but Larry, there'll be all kind of regulations and stuff. No, I will simply give them all the yeses they need under my signature. The federal government will then sue me. Good. I'll keep them in court for 5 or 10 years while they build my nuclear power plant.
There you go.
So as they build the nuclear power plant and the feds sue, I don't care what the feds say. I will ignore them and put them in court. They'll build it. Once they're done building it, here's the rules on building it. 2 things. Number 1, it must be 50% owned by the local municipality or local county as long as they vote in the plebiscite they want to have it. If they don't want it, they don't get it. Localization. If they want it, they get it. And when I say owned, I don't mean owned by the government or owned by the county. I mean owned by the individual residents of that county. Individual people, each of them is an owner. What does that mean? They have voting rights. So we cannot control AI because they won't let us. They won't let us regulate it. I get it. They're not gonna. It's a weapons system. They're afraid they won't do it. Okay. So how do we control it? We control it via energy. It needs energy. So we have voting rights to say, don't do this. When you start to build a Terminator and Arnold Schwarzenegger comes kill us all, we can vote against it and shut you down. Right? We can do that. We can actually do that if we need to. That's number 1. But number 2, if it's connected, if it is 50% owned, that means 50% of profit is also going to the local people.
Yeah.
So now do I want an AI, data processing center? Yeah, as many as I can get. and we're going to connect them directly to the nuclear power plant. Therefore, it doesn't affect my grid because the New York State grid cannot handle it.
Yeah.
So directly to it. If you want to blockchain, mining, enjoy. Now, at the end of the year, we follow the Alaska model. In Alaska right now, at the end of the year, people who live in Alaska get a check. Well, if these people want to get a check, they can. Or if they don't do that, they can instead vote to say, hey, you know what? I don't want a check. What I want is to build out a local credit union that is a county or municipality credit union so that we can give out 1% loans to people to build housing or 1% loans to fix our main streets and have business loans, whatever we decide. You vote. It's funded by the nuclear power plant. You can't wait to get more people in there. And before you know it, you're rebuilding your local communities. Not just that, if you just want to check, that's fine too. All of a sudden now I've created a UBI type style without government taxation, without government intervention. And it's not actually UBI, it's actually LBA. It is not universal basic income. It is localized basic assets. Now I have localized basic assets. People who are wealthy aren't wealthy because they have good income. They're wealthy because they have assets. So now I'm giving people assets and I'm changing it to an ownership mindset. You could begin to own different parts of your world, your local community, so you care about it and want to fix your local community. You want to fix potholes? You got a way to put together, if you want to, a sovereign fund for your municipality to fix potholes if you want to. You can decide. The governor can walk away and let you figure things out on your own. You need more housing, you need more children's playgrounds and parks. You do what you got to do to fix your own community up. You start doing that, you will watch the entire country copy you. Correct.
So let's go back to that the data centers. There's a lot of counties, a lot of cities, areas around the country that are fighting the data centers because they're high volume of energy requirements. So
yes.
you're basically saying that the data centers would be a 50-50 partnership in owning the generators of electricity?
Correct. So if that's happening, Hoff, if you're getting a check at the end of the year based upon how much energy your nuclear power plant kicks out, you cannot wait for AIP. Be like, hey, God, can you give me 2 more? Can you ship 6 more?
That's like
Okay.
co-op.
So they would increase the demand and you get a bigger check?
Yes. Or you can decide something else. You can say, I don't want to pay for energy.
Yeah.
Well, I
You
think
can lower the price of your own energy if you want to. You vote. You have voting rights. That's my point. I don't decide that. If your people in your community go, no, we are okay paying higher rates because we want to build something else, that'd be a decision you make through voting. Or no, we want cheap. Okay, or we want to check. I don't have to worry about that. I'm the governor. Why do I care about the local community? You do as you see fit. My job as governor is to protect you against the local bullies, to protect you against the federal bullies. My job is to protect your rights, not control your life. That's the difference. So you figure it out, and it'll work as you see fit, and I'm okay with that.
I think nuclear has like 100 times as much energy as coal and oil and stuff. It's way more efficient. And an interesting point on leftists, most climate scientists support nuclear energy and climate activists don't.
Yes. Well, here's the weirdest part. If you listen to a modern day socialist, they will tell you the same thing every time. Larry, you don't understand. That wasn't real socialism. Let me tell you what real socialism is. They say it all the time. Let me tell you what real socialism is. Socialism is workers owning the means of production. I go, okay, I'm not against that. That sounds good. I'm against it being forced, but I'm not against it. Okay, you make that happen, no worries. In fact, if you want to become socialist voluntarily, the Amish have been doing that for years and been just fine. I don't mind. Enjoy. You do you. I'm not mad at you for wanting to, get the kibbutz like you do in Israel.
Yep.
You do you. I'm not mad at you. You want to do that? All good. Where is the modern day socialist plan for ownership? There is none. I just gave you one. My LBA idea of localized basic assets is literally people owning the means of production. I'm actually giving you what socialists talk about. I'm actually doing it voluntarily. Yeah. You choose if you want to. Enjoy.
You will own nothing and you will be happy.
Well, the own nothing part's true. The happiness, not so sure right now.
Well, as our good friend Maj Touré would call you, a solutionary.
Yes, I love Maj. Maj is great. He's a buddy of mine. I love him.
So the main point here is that freedom of choice is what we should have in all marketplaces, including energy.
You're a madman. You're a madman.
Yes, I am. You should have a multitude of choices, whether it's wind energy, hydroelectricity, gas, nuclear, quite an option. You should have
but
freedom
hold
of
on,
choice.
If we do that, then how am I going to maintain my patronage system where I control people and get money? Have you thought about that?
Well, that's because
See how selfish you are? You see how selfish you are? God.
no, it's because most government entities have three branches of government: an executive branch, a legislative branch, and a lobbyist branch. That's the third branch of government.
That's the senior branch.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, in closing, I'd like to thank you for being a guest. But what do you say to people who tell you that voting Libertarian is wasting their vote?
Here's what I would say. In the past 20 years, 25 years, if you lean left, the Democrats have controlled the House, the Senate, the presidency, and the courts. And I would ask you, if you lean left, what have they done? What have they done for you? Where is your Medicare for all? Where is your codification of Roe v. Wade? Nowhere. If you lean right, the Republicans have also controlled the House, the Senate, the presidency, and the Supreme Court. At the same time, often both of them have. Okay, great, you lean right. Where is your balanced budget amendment? Where is your immigration reform? Nowhere. You don't get what you want when you vote Republican or Democrat. You feel like you're getting it. You don't. All they do is say, other guy bad, I'll protect you from the other. And we have a situation now to where my win is just the other guy losing. That's all it is. My life isn't any better. Nothing's changed. I keep fighting over the same things. If you keep voting Democrat, Republican, you will keep getting the same thing. If you are happy with how our country is, if you think what we're doing is just fine, we're on the right track, vote Democrat, Republican, fine. You will get the same thing. Good for you, makes total sense. If you're saying to yourself, this isn't working, something's not working, stop it. That's all I can tell you. Stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well said. Mr. Sharpe, thanks for being a guest on Conversations with the Hoff. I hope our listening audience can appreciate the need for more libertarians, not only to run, but to be elected to public office. Libertarian policies, like those presented by Larry Sharpe, can best be described as reasonably sane. Elected libertarians are essential to making less government, more freedom, as well as less government, more prosperity, as the new American reality. So I hope our listeners have enjoyed this episode of Conversations with the Hoff.
What's his name?
Well, yeah, what's that guy's name? Brought to you by Liberty Crack Media. Liberty Crack Media operates from a small studio in Surfside Beach, South Carolina, and we are continually adding to our content. Please visit our webpage, libertycrackmedia.com, and while you're there, click on the donate button.
Yay.
Your donations will help to spread the Liberty message to an even wider audience. And now a word from our glorious leader, the executive producer of Liberty Crack Media, Trip Detmering.
Oh, thank you, Hoff. And this is another great episode of Conversations with the Hoff and our good friend, Larry Sharpe. And I just want to remind everybody, every Thursday we drop a new episode of the Hoff. And if you enjoy that and you want to have a few laughs, tune into Microphone Monkeys. I didn't say Microsoft this time. And if you're interested in books, we've got the Bookworm Mom. And we're hoping to even have some more content. And if you enjoy a cigar every once in a while, tune into Liberty on Nicotine. I want to thank everybody again and tune in. Thank you.
From campus quads to the Capitol steps, we're talking who we are, what comes next. Conversations with the Hoff, where the big ideas kick the shoes off. Liberty tradition, side by side, argue, laugh, then let it ride. Conversations with the Hoff, turn it up and turn it over in your mind. Tax to the hill, or left alone. How much power do we loan? Rights on paper, rights in hand. Where do we draw that line in the sand? Conversations with a Hoff, where the big ideas kick their shoes off. Liberty tradition, side by side, argue, laugh, and let it ride. Conversations with a Hoff, Turn it up and turn it over in your mind. Is it either or in between? Old school roots and a freedom dream. Pull that thread, see what you find. One more question, we're out of time. Conversations with the Hoff, where the big ideas kick the shoes off. Liberty, tradition, side by side. Argue, laugh, then let it ride. Conversations with the Hoff. Hit subscribe and take a little time to think it through.